Hello, guys. Welcome once again to another review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And today we're going to be talking about episode 16. Talking about episode 16. We're going to be talking about episode 16. And firstly, we saw in the beginning of the episode, we saw we saw Kelly. They are back now in Atlanta, and we saw Kelly going into court for her divorce. And coming back, we saw Shemia visiting her as a friend. Now, before we go ahead and talk about that whole situation, I want to ask. It's not like I'm asking. I just want to just say something. My observation.
Okay.
I feel like Shemia is that kind of person that makes friends with anybody and whomever.
Well,
Um, you smile at Shemia, she already recognizes you as a friend and she goes deep and hard. And that's why I feel like that is why most of her friends don't really give her that much respect. As much as Candy always comes and says Shemia is my friend, if I look at Candy's friendship with other people that I know that Candy has said these are my friends and how she has related with Shemia, you will see that there is difference with that friendship. So I feel like Shemia is that kind of person that she just meets you today, you smile at her, or you agree on her on one topic. The next day, you guys are buddies, you are friends. I feel like she makes friends so quickly and she loses them the way she makes them.
mm,
Because you cannot be making friendship like that because coming to this episode and seeing her going to Kelly's house, talking about her divorce, I'm like, how did they get to this friendship so quick when they never knew each other, right?
no,
It's like
no,
they
no, no.
really
They did. Remember at the beginning, Shamia uh, and Kimmy and Brit went out after. Well, no, they
no.
were out having drinks.
I'm saying
Remember?
I'm saying that before. No, let me clear it. Most times when we watch the show, they come online to say some things, right? Now,
Right.
this show is always edited to make you look as if they've been buddies, like this person brought this person as a friend and everything. So we know
Right.
those that know there are people outside, they were friends. Let me just say that the only people that were really, really friends before this show was Kelly and Brit.
Okay.
Kelly and Brit were the ones that naturally had that friendship in real life
Okay.
before Real Housewives of Atlanta came knocking.
Okay.
Now, Shemia and Kelly's friendship started because of the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
They never really had this prior, like let's say Candy and Shemia or Portia and Shemia.
Okay.
They never really did have that. So, no, most of the time they will be like, how reality is now. They will say, "Oh, Shemia will be the one to introduce this person," and at the end of the day, you find out that they never even knew each other. You get what I'm trying to like
Right.
hint at?
Right. Right. Right.
Uh-huh.
I understand.
So that's that kind of stuff.
Mm,
So that is how it is.
okay.
So now their friendship is at this level, and I'm like asking myself, like, how does someone make friends like this? Then when you start losing the friendships, when these people start, because at the end of the day, friendship is a form of relationship. Friendship is also like a marriage,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't go into the right friendship, if you don't go into the right friendship, you will end up being hurt, like you will end up losing a lot.
Right.
So I feel like me now saying, I'm not saying that how great our friendship with Kelly is not nice. Of course, everybody makes friends. I've made friends like that I never knew I was going to be friends with them at the end of the day. Now we're friends. But still, even if it's that circumstances that I met up with this person, one of my friends that we are very close to today, I met up with her once. She made my hair. I went to her salon to make my hair when I was still making hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked her, the way she talked. Then when I consistently was going there to make my hair, we started gisting from there. But before I could literally say that this person is my friend, before I could go to the place that would start telling each other's, issues or problems in life, I knew that, okay, I had studied this person to a certain level. Not because you smile with me. Not everybody that smiles and shines teeth with you is your friend.
Very true.
Not everybody you can trust. Just because they hug you and say, "Oh, my friend," doesn't mean you're my friend. Some people can be your friends, but also your enemies. Like they are literally hating on you. But they
There
are
you
coming to say, "Oh, you're my friend, you're my friend." So friendship, I've seen where friendship gets people killed. I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about friendships. So Shemia getting so quickly close with Kelly, it's like I'm just looking at Shemia like, okay, no wonder your friends don't really, really that respect you that much. I think she has a problem of making friendship so quickly without really trying to know who she's trying to be friends with.
go.
And at the end of the day, yeah, some might work out, some might not. At the end of the day. So that's just my observation I wanted to talk about. Before we then go back and talk about it, Kelly is divorced. Then Shemia coming to visit her and talking about the divorce. So we got to find out that she's still not divorced as at that moment when they were shooting. Um, and her ex-husband was arrested. I don't know. Well, because maybe I've never been divorced before. I never knew divorce could take this long. Man, it's even harder than when you want to get married.
Well,
Um,
out here, out here in the States, yeah,
yeah.
it just depends. It depends on if you have kids together and if you own any property.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, with my first divorce, yeah, we had kids and we had property. But as I told you, all I wanted was the kids and my last name back, my original last name. You know,
Mm,
I gave him the house, the car, the boat, and the truck. I didn't want any of that, you know?
mm,
Now, to this day, does he have any of that stuff left? Nope. He lost the house eventually. Um, I think he still has the truck, but it probably ain't, the motor probably just shot because he just got it parked. Uh, the car, he's probably still driving that same old car. And the truck, he probably got it sitting up in the garage somewhere. And, you know, hey, it ain't my business after I walk away. You know what I'm saying?
sure.
So it
Yeah.
just depends, you know. So my original divorce, it took like almost 2 years. You know,
Mm,
like I said, I just wanted full custody of the kids and my last name back. You know, I tried, like I
mm,
said, I tried to get child support, but that never happened. You know, I kept going up to the court buildings. There was a court order, but he never would pay it. You know, I mean, this
mm,
Joker had a good job, you know, and my court order wasn't for thousands of dollars, not even hundreds of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
My court order was so low that the judge said, ma'am, we need to raise this amount because what you're asking for is not enough to feed two kids for 1 month for what you're asking for. You can't feed them 3 meals a day, not off of that. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, but I'm not trying to raise it. I just give me this amount first. Let's deal with the amount that's on the paper.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I never
Mm-hmm.
received it. You know, so hey, me being the person that I am, I went out and got 2 jobs. And I said, hey, go on and get a third job. You know what I'm saying? My kids aren't
Mm,
going to suffer because you don't want to pay. You don't want to participate. You know, so yeah, it's hard. It's crazy. You know, I'd rather walk away from everything and start off fresh. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
because my greater is gonna be better.
Oh,
You know.
well, I kind of like um I really don't like when because of divorce you tend to forget your kids. And I love that he was arrested. Maybe now he might be able to pay, or he would pay her the child support she's asking for. Um but I would take any day, anytime Kelly's husband to Ralph. Because no matter Kelly was arrested and everything, we did not see him come on social media to like say trash or say whatever or anything. So I would prefer him to Ralph any day, anytime. Because Ralph is such a noisemaker. But I felt bad for Kelly that she thought she was going to be finally divorced. And the crystal. So the crystal didn't really work.
No. I don't know why they believe it. Like I said, those are just colors.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, so why did the crystal break? Everybody was like, maybe it's the final, like it's done. Apparently, they weren't done. So, um, but I felt bad for her that she thought that she was gonna be finally done with the divorce, but she still has to go on. I don't know whether by now, filming was done months back, so but I don't know whether by now they are officially divorced. She hasn't said anything about it. Maybe
Mm,
we'll find out in the reunion, but for now, I just hope it goes well for her. And I also like the fact that Shamia checked up on her, and I also like the fact that Angela, I'm surprised, I'm shocked that Angela also checked up on her. That is
yeah.
like, that was nice.
Yeah, that was real nice.
Yeah, but that aside, there was something I did not like that went on between that Kelly said. During when Shamia asked her, oh, has Brit reached out to you? And she was like, oh, I'm so shocked that she hasn't reached out to me. Blah, blah, blah. That whole situation. Now, I want to get your point of view because
Mhm.
I kind of saw it in this way. Like, she's pissed off that Brit didn't reach out to her. But while I was watching, I wasn't pissed off. I felt like that is something that I too would have done, and I'm not gonna judge Brit for doing it.
Mhm.
Um, because at that time you guys are not in good terms. You guys have had this embarrassing moment between the both of you. Like, it's not grace between the both of you and me. Why I say that that's something I will do, because I'm one person. I don't know how to fake
Right.
sympathy or fake love you or fake hate you.
Mhm.
I don't know how to do it. I remember when my friend broke up with a guy that was my friend, and she was not like, okay, fine, because I'm your friend and I've broken up with this guy, you need to be hating on that guy. I was shocked because I was like, I don't know how to fake hate somebody because this person never hurt me.
Right.
I don't know how to fake hate person. So I don't know how to fake love. So if I'm having issue with you, I really don't know how to come and be like, oh, I feel sympathy for you, when I know that in my heart I'm literally still hurting and literally hating on you on what you did to me. You get. So that's why I said I feel like I would have done the same thing if I was Brit. The only difference between me and Brit is that maybe I might have sent her a message and be like, I heard you went to court. I hope all went well. Finish. But going as much as expecting unconditional, like the way we were before, I'll call you, I'll come and visit you. I don't think I would do that. So I felt like for her trying to condemn Brit for not doing that was so hypocritical, because you don't do what you do to somebody and you say that person is your friend, and you'd still be like you are still expecting the person to still be the same way you were after you hurt them. So I felt like it was not a fair thing to put on Brit. That was just my own point of view. So
I mean, I
that was just
agree.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If this is your girl, and she's like sitting back and she's like belittling you, as she's watching somebody belittle you, about your donation, you know what I'm saying? Instead of pulling me to the side saying, girl, what you gonna put some money with that? Because that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? Pull me to the side and say something. Don't, you know, listen to somebody belittle me, and then bring it to a
And
group and
also
then they're still
joining.
belittling me. Yeah, but then you're sitting there and then you're gonna join in, you know. So I kind of think that uh what's her name? Kimmy? She should have
Kelly.
had, yeah, she should have had the idea of when they were still in Granada that she when she came to the room and had that conversation, like, hey, look, if there's problems between me and you, I'd rather for you to address it with me instead of a group thing. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like I'm being jumped on and you're not like holding me down. So
Mm,
after that conversation, like, you expected a good morning, sunshine? No, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Because you showed me who you were. So I'm gonna stall you out.
Yeah.
You know,
So I
so
don't. When I watched that, I was like, "What is Kelly saying?" Like, I never see. I will say it and say it over again. I never liked Brit from the episode one, but these ladies
mhm,
are making me look at them and be like, "Was I being unfair to judge Brit like that from the beginning?" Because it's giving me problematic. Why are you expecting somebody that you literally embarrassed and looked down on to come and be a shoulder to cry on for you? Like, why did you have that expectation? Why? And this is why I don't be liking Shemia. And I also feel like Shemia is not also a good friend. Because why are you also, you know that what she did is bad because you were complaining of the same thing that Portia did the same thing to you and you didn't like it. And you saw somebody do the same thing to another friend, but you're siding with the person. Then if tomorrow, if Portia does you or treats you like a rag, you should not complain because you're allowing somebody else treat their friend like a rag. At the end of the day, what you give is what you receive. You
yeah,
you you can't be expecting something special when you do not give something special. It's not possible, except if you want to cheat your way to it. It's not possible. Then we had at the other side, we had Brit invited Portia and Cynthia to her house. They were talking about the fallout with Kelly. And now, this is why I say Shemia, I'm looking at her somehow, and I feel like that's why maybe that's how why her and Kelly will coordinate. Brit saying that Shemia showed them text messages of Portia. I think Portia said with her therapist, but Brit was like, I think with her attorney or something like that. But the thing is that I don't think that's what Brit said is a lie because literally, Shemia has come online to come and kind of debunk it, but I feel like it's not a lie because Brit knew the context of the text message. Because when she was saying the content of the text messages, right, that was when it clocked to Portia. Portia was like, "Oh, that was not for my attorney, that was for my therapist." If she didn't see the text message, how did she know what was the text message, right? So
true.
I feel like Shemia did show them those messages,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like Shemia did pull out those messages of Portia with whether her therapist or her attorney, and that is a bad friend. There's nothing you will tell me. That's a very bad friend. Like I come with you with with a grievance and grievances that I have of my life, and we are having this segment, and I feel like I feel secured with you as a friend. But you're going to tell you're literally going to expose me. You are literally going to naked me outside. If I wanted to be naked outside, I would have brought it out. I would have naked myself by myself. So why are you the one person I felt like I am safe with? Now, if Portia treats her bad, she'll be like, "Oh, Portia is not treating me like a friend." Really, I would not want to be friends with someone that goes out to expose our chats.
Nah, that's
I
definitely out of line.
I would not see the moment I find that, except if maybe somebody hacked your phone and viewed our messages. That's a different scenario. But you were not hacked, your phone wasn't stolen. You literally by yourself carried your phone and gave to somebody else and said, "See my messages that she sent to me." That's bullshit, right? That's the big bullshit. And listening to Brit's side of it, talking about the fact why she did not talk to Kelly, I understand. I do understand, because we are at the end of the day, as much as we are watching reality TV, is reality, is reality. And I know that most these women, they have feelings, they have emotions, they feel pain, they feel hurt. No matter how we want to idolize them, like, oh, I'm a fan. But at the end of the day, they are human beings. And Brit is still pissed off. So I'm not gonna fake it. And I knew that that was what she was gonna say at the end of the day, because truthfully, yes, don't fake love me. Because I'm pretty sure that if she had done that, people would be like, oh, she was trying to be fake around Kelly. So let's not fake it. Let's just be, let's be real for real.
Right.
Let's be real for real. So I was like so happy that Brit did not talk with her. I was happy that Brit did not talk to her in any shape or form. Um, but I was also happy to see Phaedra's son walk the runway. Yeah, he's handsome. Maybe he has hope in the model industry. Do you think he's gonna make it? Does he have a modeling body?
You know what? I was just yeah. I mean, but I think these little boys are just really intelligent. They're smart. I mean, they
Yeah.
can't help but be little entrepreneurs because they come from
Hmm.
Phaedra. I mean, this is a woman that wears many hats. She has many jobs, many careers. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like whatever they plan on doing with their lives, they're gonna come
They're
out
gonna work
good.
towards it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just it just kind of touched me when I seen that. Her son said, "Hey, I need some bell bottom pants," and she was like, "Okay, let's go find you some." And they couldn't
Mm,
find them, so she was like, "Well, hey, I'm gonna get you a sewing machine and some material, make your own." And then look at him. She said, "Look at him." Later on, he's just sewing his heart out. I mean, he's
mm,
just, yeah.
yeah.
He's trying to design his own clothes, come up with his own brand, you know, and
I
I,
I do hope. Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's marvelous.
I do hope. When I saw it, I was like, I do hope he goes far. Sometimes
Hmm.
we wish, but life happens. I hope nothing derails him on the road. I hope nothing distracts him from that vision.
Right.
um and he gets to be that person that we all know he can be. So yeah, so I hope it goes well. But let's talk about what happened during that. Is it a dinner after the stuff where Charles, is it Kelly's event, right? Yeah, Kelly's event. Charles comes in with Angela. Then they had a bake off with Kelly. The moment was sweet and nice.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, one buzzing noise came from nowhere. My question was like, when I saw that situation, I was like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? What is your business? Like, I don't think, like, when I'm even still shocked remembering it, because I don't think I would go to an event, right? I've literally gone to events where I see couples, right? And I know
Right.
that, okay, this man is cheating on his wife. Like, I literally know. or I know that this woman is cheating on her husband. I know. But I don't think I would walk up to the man or walk up to the woman and be like, I work in this place, or I went to this place and I saw your husband with his side chick, or he's cheating on you. Who that? It's none of my business. Even if I cut them pants down, it's none of my business. And for the guy to uselessly walk up to Angela and say that, oh, Angela is calm. Oh my God. I had a little bit of respect for Angela in this episode. Um,
Yeah, she
I had
used a
to,
lot of restraint.
yeah, I had to cut my cap for Angela because I know that some women would have given that guy the slap of his life. And one thing I was also so happy for was that Charles didn't hear him.
Oh yes,
I
that
was
big old
so,
guy.
I
Ooh,
was like, God works in mysterious ways because how the heck did Charles not hear this guy?
it must have been a lot of noise in there. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Must have been a lot of noise. But yeah, he didn't want that. He didn't want Charles.
I was like, God works in mysterious ways because if the heck that Charles heard what that guy said to Angela, man,
Yeah,
he wouldn't have been gracious like Angela. He could have even thrown that stove on him.
yeah. That was just tasteless and out of
That
line.
was
You
tasteless
know.
from that guy.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know
yeah.
who he is.
I don't know. It was just tasteless and out of line. He looked like he was itching to come over there and say something to Angela because
Like,
you could
oh
see
my
him in the
God. He
background
sounds
just
like,
kind of
and the
looking
way
at
he
her,
calmly said it, like, how well, I was like, "Yeah, Angela, just give him slap for me. Just a little one, just one slap. It's enough. What the heck is wrong with that guy?
I don't know, but she handled it very well.
Oh no. I like my respect for Angela went like it went on a high because I'm pretty sure if it was someone like Portia or even Shemia, they wouldn't have gracefully taken it like that.
Y-
So my respect went on a high for Angela because, and even on her confession as what she said, oh my God.
Well, Charles looked like he doesn't play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he doesn't play.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know
He's
Charles? He
he's like a
doesn't play.
he's like a man's man. You know what I'm saying? He look like he's
Man.
fun. He got patience, but certain things he ain't gonna play about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Man.
that that guy, he missed a beat down. he
I'm
missed.
telling you, he should. If I was that guy, when I got home, I would be thanking God that I wasn't given the beating of my life, and he couldn't even have taken Charles. Look at how lanky he was. He couldn't have taken Charles. Charles would have beaten him so badly, folded him up.
Like a wallet. Yeah.
Oh my God. But truthfully, jokes apart, it was not something to laugh at. That scene was so distasteful in my mouth watching it. Um I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed.
I was just thinking, like, damn, for you to come out and talk to Angela and tell her something about her husband cheating, and then you say, hey, I own this restaurant. They come to my restaurant. You're putting yourself on Front Street, not only for the fans to come and visit you, you know, but Charles. What about if Charles comes in there one day? What you gonna do? Run in the kitchen? Like, dude, was it really worth all that? Whether it was the truth or a lie, was it worth that? because you seen what happened to Stormy when people didn't like certain stuff about her. They were visiting her place of employment, her
Mm-hmm.
business, you know. So
Man,
yeah, he was just doing too much. No, no,
too.
no amount of money. Yeah, no amount
I
of
don't know
money
whether he
would have
was doing that for the cameras or he wanted to have a screen time, but
built
that
up
was
his
not worth it.
business. Who knows?
That that wasn't worth it at all.
Nah, it
That
wasn't
camera
worth the
time.
beef. It wasn't worth the beef or the beat down.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. Exactly.
Yeah, because he looked like he didn't know how to bob and weave. You know what I'm saying?
Uh, and now, this was the episode we found out that Portia's cousin became late.
Oh.
The fact that we saw her in the beginning of the season and
Mhm.
before the season ended, she was no longer like that was sad.
It
Um,
was.
that was sad. But there was something that kind of was funny to me.
Mhm.
Portia told Phaedra, but didn't tell Shemia.
Yeah, you know why I think that happened? It's
Yeah.
because Shamia is going around showing the conversations they're having to other
Mm,
people that are in
mm-hmm.
text form. So
Mm,
why would I tell you something else or share anything with you when you can't keep it to yourself?
mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
you're
Mm,
exposing me, whether good or bad, you're exposing me,
mm.
you know? So
Pe-
yeah, I noticed how
People,
Shamia looked when she got the news. Like, damn,
yeah, because she was shocked.
yeah, because she's hearing it secondhand and not from the
Mm-hmm.
horse's mouth.
And not from the horse's mouth. And everybody, everybody when I went online, people were like, how? Because normally when your friend's family die, you are supposed to be the first person to hear, then others will be hearing from you.
Right.
Because I know that when I lost my mom,
Mm-hmm.
the first people I told were my friends. Like my friends, like I was on call with them. Like this is any other person that started knowing about it, heard it from my friends.
Right. People who support you.
Yeah. Any other
Mm-hmm.
person that found out about it found out from those people that I called and said, this is it. This is what
Right.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
And any good news I have in my life, my friends are the first person to find out before every other person
Right.
finds out. And you would know, for me, if anything is going on in my life. I think
Mm-hmm.
there was a time I had an issue with one of my friends, and something happened in my life that like it was a good news moment, and I didn't tell her about that stuff happening. Immediately she found out from people that had already told, like, oh, when it was now finally out there that this thing happened to me. She called me. I was like, wow, is this how our friendship has gotten? Because she knows that if I don't call you, if something good happens to me or if something bad happens to me, I don't really at that moment see you as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she was kind of even shocked, like, uh, Phaedra knows about it, but I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's what you get
Yeah.
for showing text messages. I don't care what excuse she wants to make, but Brit knew the content of that text message. And the only way she knows about it is that she saw the text messages. Simple and short.
Mm-hmm.
So let her bear the consequences of her actions at the end of the day. Now, going forward, Angela, the ladies met up and Angela was talking to the ladies that they visited that guy after the incident at Kelly's event,
Mm-hmm.
and um the guy kind of confessed that somebody paid him to
Right.
literally do that, which is who does that? Like, why would I like? I do that? Why would I pay someone to kind of spoil someone's mood? Like, why? Why? That's fucked up. Whoever's the person that paid that guy, you're fucked up.
Well,
But
yeah,
anyway.
especially if he's gonna snitch on you. Shit.
Uh-huh. But anyway, he confessed that he was paid, and Kelly. Now, this is where I'm like looking at Kelly one-sided,
Mm-hmm.
and Kelly was like, "Oh, maybe it was those people that were absent that paid him." I was like,
The
"Man, this
only
girl, I fear
the
you."
only one that was absent was Brit, right?
Yeah, I fear this girl.
Shady.
Huh.
Shady.
May people not have friends like Kelly. I would say it. I've been saying it. May you not have friends like Kelly, because
Yeah.
they will absolutely push you to the wall. I know there are those kind of people that when they push you, you react. They'll not be like, "Oh, look at her reaction." They will not hide, forgetting that they first made actions first before you reacted to their actions. Which is what I felt happened because it became heated when Brit was like, so I'm the only one that didn't come. Brit caught the jab that she was trying to throw, especially when Portia was like, no, not Portia, Cynthia was like, she invited me to her house. Portia too was there, that kind of thing. She kind of started feeling something kind of way. Um, then now the situation between Brit and Kelly, because some people are like, Brit was bad. It was bad of Brit to say what she said. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna say it like this. Yes, what Brit said was bad. But let's remember, for every action we make in life, for every action we take in life, there will be a reaction to that. Now, Kelly went as far when the insults started throwing, because at the end of the day, Brit's insults were kind of hitting very harsh, right?
Right.
Now, she wanted to have a moment, and she went ahead and said she's on pills, and nobody wants to hear that you are a pill popper. Nobody wants to be exposed as an addict.
No, I mean, even Kiki didn't like that, you know?
Yeah. Then you came and be like, oh, go back to your, drug
Yep.
stopping thing. And Phaedra was like, oh, I never saw those hard stuffs. The only thing she gave me, like, okay, you've started putting that kind of thing in people's mind. Then she got
Well,
pissed off.
yeah, but
You
not
had,
only that, she said
yeah.
something about her husband. She said she called her husband her roommate. That means you
Mm-hmm.
guys aren't even intimate with each other.
Yeah. Now
You
you've
know.
said all those things. You've said all those things now. You never felt that thing could be painful. You said somebody's husband is their roommate, right?
Right.
You called
Hmm.
the person a drug addict. Two. Then the person replied with
She
what
called her a hobbit.
she said. I love that part was like so funny to me. Um, but the part that everybody was focused on was when she kind of talked about the abortion stuff. um People were like, it was now everyone were like, oh, she went low. But see, it's a situation of you decide to go low, I decide to go to hell. Now, what Brit said, was it bad? Absolutely bad. Should she
Yeah.
have brought it up? Absolutely not. She shouldn't have brought it up. But was she pushed to her limit? Yes.
Hmm.
Everybody has a limit to what they can take. Everybody has one thing. Like, everybody has a moment. See, I am one person that I easily don't get pissed off. I easily don't get annoyed. But when I get annoyed, oh my God, you and I will end up hating ourselves at the end of the day. Because what I'm gonna say with my mouth, as in at that moment, I'm so pissed off, I want to hurt you.
Hmm.
Right. That is why what I do is because what happens is when I do what I want to do, when I misbehave, if I'm getting pissed off, when I'm now calm, I then start remembering the words I say and I start regretting it. That's the part I hate.
Mm,
The regrets after I have
mhm.
done what I've done. So what I do is when I see that I'm getting to that spot where you're just pissing me off so bad, I walk out. But it's not everybody that knows when to walk out.
True.
Just because I have trained myself that well that when I see that I'm getting to that setting, but still, I have still been, as much as I've said I've trained myself that I walk out from some settings, there are still sometimes in, let's say I have five arguments or five issues in a month or in a year, two of them I will still find myself flaring up and exchanging words with you. Then the remaining three I might walk out. You don't know whatever mood you can be in that day. And you might just flare up or you might just calm yourself down and walk out. Now, Brit was wrong for saying what she said, but I will not be that person to fault her because she went there, because somebody lit the fire.
True.
Now the house is ready to burn down. Are you gonna blame the house for burning down? No. Somebody took a matchstick, lit it. Now the house burns down because you lit that matchstick. So why are you getting pissed off that house burns down? And that is how I did view that situation because Kelly started with it. Kelly started. You don't start what you cannot finish at the end of the day. If you know you don't have a mouth to curse somebody, if you know you don't know, have the mouth to abuse somebody, why do you start with the insult? But that's my take. How did you view the altercation between them and what was said between the both of them?
Well, I mean, like we know, Kelly got upset at Britt. Britt came in, she spoke, you know, to everybody. Then she looked at Britt and she was like, hey, and she didn't want to speak. So right there, instead of saying, hey girl, how you doing? You know what? Can we get together and have lunch so we can talk?
Mm,
You know what I'm
mm,
saying? That would have been a lot better than the cold shoulder, you know. And then they got into the glam team, that they were sharing and you
mhm,
know, and like that should have been a conversation between the two of them. Like, girl, look, you got to hurry up and get your own glam team because I'm gonna need mine back. You know what I'm saying? That way
exactly.
you're letting a person know how you're feeling, and that they need to take action. But if you're not telling a person and you're going around telling everybody else, I would think that what are you upset because I'm looking well put together and you're not, or like what's going on here? Don't offer me something and then go around telling everybody, hey, look, she's really broke. you know, I had to like slip her $20. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I I I, I can understand why Britt was starting to get a little annoyed, you know, and once they started with the comebacks on each other, it was like, hey, look, don't forget, I know your life history, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because you done told it to me, you know, you don't went deeper than I have been deep with you, you know, so yeah, it was crazy, but I was here for it. I was definitely here for it. I was just like, wow, okay. Gee, see, this is the reason why I don't get too close to women. You know what I'm saying? I,
Mm-hmm.
seriously, you know,
They tend
be,
to expose your
but,
secrets when they want to fight.
well, because I'm a crash out. That's why. I crash out. I black out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get close to people like that. I don't let everybody know everything about me.
About you.
My husband still doesn't know everything about me. You know,
And I'm pretty sure that also it might be Breeze that would have told Kelly that her and her husband might not be sleeping on the same bed. It might be
right.
because they are friends. They will be able to share that kind of stuff between themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, d- do you expect to share it with your good friend, your close homie, and then as soon as you get mad, it's like, well, you're wearing dirty panties. Like, who
Mm.
does that? Like, these chicks, man. Yeah, they're an example of why I don't get close to women. I'll speak. Well, we can be cordial, we could be acquaintances, but homies, real thick and thin, nah, I'm good.
Man, I I felt so bad because the both of them just went on let's expose each other. Then it's just that at the end of the day, in they're exposing each other. The one that Brit said was much more damaging
Of course.
than what
Well,
Kelly said.
I wouldn't really say damaging. I would just say much more personal. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Mm,
Because you're talking about things that I've done as far as you know um babies, the
yeah.
destroying of a baby.
And my
Women
body.
have different reasons for doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Sometimes it's their health that's involved. Sometimes it's that fetus's health. You know,
mm,
sometimes they're too stressed in their life, or they got a bum ass person that they're with, that's not going to help them and that's probably beating the crap out of them daily or weekly.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
yeah, there's different reasons why women do that. You know, it is, you know. But if Kelly, she should have had a pushback on that. I'd have been like, yep, this happened on this date, this happened on this date, and this happened on this date.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're not telling something that I'm not willing to expose
I
myself.
suppose. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
But that's
That's why
true.
that's why I say my life is an open book. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah.
Anything you think you got on me, believe me.
It's
if
everywhere.
yeah, well, if you expose it, I'm gonna sit back and tell you the story. I'm gonna sit back and
Ah,
tell you the truth about it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So who has the bigger embarrassment? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Because life be life and we all gonna live it one way or another.
yeah. True. True.
We all got a story to tell.
Now, we before the episode ended, we saw Shemia going to talk to Brit about the fallout with Kelly, kind of blaming her that Brit shouldn't have said what she said about Kelly. But one thing I didn't like is that yes, you can call out Brit for saying what she's saying, but also go call out Kelly for saying what
Right.
she said too.
Or sit
Don't
back and try and understand why
or
everything is
don't even
going
put your
on.
mouth into it.
Yeah.
Not because what's you know what I feel like what every all of them were looking at is that what Brit said was just too personal and not supposed to have been said.
Hmm.
But Brit or Kelly also said hers. It's just that hers was not that overly personal. She said
Right.
hers.
Right.
So I felt like them coming to Brit only was not fair. They should have talked to both Kelly and her because Kelly and Brit were both wrong.
Right.
50-50% across the board.
Oh yeah.
The both of them were wrong. I'm not siding with anybody. Brit was wrong.
Hmm.
Kelly was wrong. The both of them were wrong. in that situation. So I'm not gonna say Brit was the Brit said that about her, so I'm gonna hate her. No,
Well,
no.
look, I'm gonna at least give Britt credit for when it all first started in Granada. She went to her hotel room and set her down like a grown
And
ass
try to talk
woman.
to her. Yeah,
Yeah, and say, hey, if we got a problem, then
come
hey,
talk to
come to
me.
me. That would have been a perfect time for her to say, girl, okay, so the glam squad, you can't keep using them. See, that would have been the perfect time. But no, she act like, oh, everything's fine, everything. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? So that was some fake phony shit right there. But then
Mhm.
you want her to support you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You're doing too much fake shit, and then you want to be crowned what? Queen? I think not. Not in my world.
Man,
So I just
I
want to give Brit that credit right there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, because at the end of the day, she tried to be like, okay, we've been friends because that's what friends do.
Yeah,
When your friend messes up, you just be like, yo, you told them as aside, not in front of everybody.
exactly.
Not like what Kelly was trying to be like, oh,
Like
people that
embarrass her.
were absent.
Yeah, she's trying to
That's not,
embarrass
you're
her.
trying to embarrass your friend.
Yeah,
So that makes sure that that's why I cannot side with Kelly no matter what Brit said and it was so bad. Because Kelly started it.
right.
If Kelly hasn't kind of insinuated that probably it was Brit that did that to Angela, and why would Brit want to do that to Angela?
Yeah, I think Kelly's problem is Kelly tries to suck up. I mean, she sucked up to Angela. She sucked up to Shamia. You know what I'm saying? She sucks up like it's gonna keep her around for next season. You know?
See, it's you know that Brit is no longer going to come for the next season, right? You know
No,
she
I
sued.
didn't.
Oh, she sued Bravo. She was not in the reunion.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, she's not in the reunion.
Oh wow.
She sued Bravo.
Mm.
She's suing Bravo,
For what?
right? For that Kenya stuff and some other thing. I don't know. I'm not. I didn't even concern myself with it. But
Yeah.
she's suing Bravo.
Mm.
Um, she was not at the reunion and she has removed Real Housewives of Atlanta from her bio. So surely she's not coming back for next season, which I feel is going to be sad because I would have loved to see in the next season how that relationship would be. It would have been a great
Right.
storyline.
Right.
It
Right.
would have been a great storyline because Kelly is giving me that vibe that she will sell you out just to
Yeah.
get what she wants.
Oh yeah.
She will sell you any day, anytime. That's why I say I'm scared of Kelly. Kelly will sell you out any day, anytime. Kelly will sell you out just to get anything she wants. And man, those kind of people needs to be feared.
Yeah, don't use her glam squad. That's for sure.
Yeah. Don't use her glam squad. Oh my god. But anyway, it's very and the episode was like I enjoyed it because it has so many intriguing factors. I did enjoy the episode, but I'm
Yeah,
anticipating
me too.
that. Yeah, I'm anticipating next week episode. I I want to see how Charles. Like I love how Charles walked up to that guy, but people are saying that because he walked arm in arm with Drew. People are saying that maybe it was Drew that paid him, but I don't think it was Drew
Mm,
because she has nothing to gain or nothing to
mm,
lose
mm.
doing that. But she came into the event that will be happening next week, the next week episode.
Uh-huh.
She came into the event with that guy, which Charles, like I like, no, Charles, like I love him. He just came out like, no, 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 no. That's not what we're gonna do. You're not going to be here.
Yeah. He's a take charge type of guy.
You are not going to be here.
Yeah, and I love the way he protects his wife and
Mm-hmm.
his marriage.
At the end of the day, you can say anything about Charles. He's cheating, he's doing anything, but at least he respects his wife.
Oh yeah.
Some men be cheating and don't care about their wife's feelings. They be cheating and don't care about their wife's feelings. So yeah, at least he cares about, well, let's just see how next week. I can't wait for next week's episode. I literally can't wait for next week's episode because I feel like it's going to be interesting. Can't wait. And that's the season finale before we get the reunion. Uh, I hope the reunion will be better because this season has not really been that great.
You know what would make the reunion great? If they could bring Kenya for the reunion. But I know they're not
No,
going to do that.
Kenya is not in the reunion.
I know, I know. But that would make it great, though.
Kenya is not in the reunion.
Yeah, I know.
Um, yeah. But anyways, I guess it is gonna be better. Thank you guys for joining us on today's review of the Real House of Atlanta. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on the channel. We'll see you guys same time next week. Oh, before we go, did you? I'm hearing the word on the street. I don't know whether it's real. They are saying that Real House, sorry, Loverland. Oh, what am I saying? Love Island. Sorry, Lover Marriage Huntsville is going to be back very soon.
They said it's
I
going to
don't
be
know.
back soon.
Yeah, I think they said next month. I'm not sure. No concrete evidence, really. I'm not really seeing any concrete evidence, but
Well, yay. I mean, I miss them. I like to know what they've been doing, you know? So let's hope if they do come back, they give us some reality TV.
I hope they have. I hope they have. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us once again. See you guys same time next week. Have a nice day, guys.
Bye.
Bye.